The rise of a powerful kingdom. In the early 18th century, the kingdom of Dahomey, located in present-day Benin, was one of the most powerful empires in West Africa. Its ruler, King Agaja, had expanded his territory through fierce wars, conquering rival states and increasing his wealth. Like many African rulers, he had long traded gold, ivory, and spices with European merchants who docked their ships along the coast. But soon, a new demand arose, one that would test the morality and future of his kingdom. Portuguese, Dutch, and British traders no longer wanted just goods, they wanted people. In exchange for guns, gunpowder, textiles, and liquor, they offered to buy prisoners of war, criminals, and even ordinary villagers captured in raids. The European appetite for slaves seemed endless, and African merchants, seeing an opportunity for profit, took advantage of the demand. King Agaja's dilemma. At first, King Agaja resisted. He saw the damage the trade caused. Families torn apart, villages emptied overnight, and entire communities living in fear. He attempted to halt the sale of his people, writing letters to European traders demanding they stop the practice. But his stance put him at a disadvantage. Neighboring kingdoms, like the Oyo Empire, thrived off the trade, using European weapons to launch devastating raids on those who refused to participate. Facing military pressure and economic hardship, Agaja was forced to make a terrible choice. To protect Dahomey, he would have to join the trade. His warriors raided weaker villages, capturing men, women, and children who were then marched to the coast and sold to European merchants. As the slave ships sailed away, carrying thousands across the Atlantic to unknown fates, Agaja knew his kingdom's wealth came at a terrible cost. The merchants of misery. It was not just kings who profited. African merchants, middlemen between the rulers and European traders, built vast networks of human trafficking. In ports like Elmina, Cape Coast Castle, and Wida, they controlled the slave markets, bargaining over the price of human lives. Some of them grew immensely rich, living in grand houses and wearing European fabrics while overseeing the suffering of thousands. One of the most infamous merchants was Francisco Felix de Souza, a Brazilian-born slave trader who settled in Dahomey. He became an advisor to King Gizo, Agaja's successor, and helped the kingdom grow even more dependent on the trade. Gizo, unlike Agaja, fully embraced the business, seeing it as the foundation of Dahomey's economy. "The slave trade is the ruling principle of my people," he declared, the beginning of the end. As the 19th century approached, abolitionist movements in Europe and America gained momentum. Britain, having outlawed slavery in 1807, sent warships to patrol the Atlantic, capturing slave ships and pressuring African rulers to stop selling people. King Gizo resisted, knowing his kingdom's economy depended on it, but he eventually had no choice but to adapt. Dahomey and other African states shifted their economies to palm oil production, though the scars of the past would never fully heal. The damage was done. Millions of people had been taken, entire communities erased, and African societies left weakened and vulnerable to later European colonization. A legacy of pain and reflection. The role of African kings and merchants in the slave trade remains a painful chapter in history. It is a story of survival, greed, power, and betrayal, one where leaders, caught between European demands and their own ambitions, made choices that changed the continent forever. But it is also a story of resilience, as the descendants of those who were taken continue to fight for justice, identity, and recognition of the past. The echoes of that dark era still shape Africa today, serving as a reminder that history must be faced, not forgotten.